Hi there. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my second attempt at the How to Win the Battle Against Hormones from Hell Masterclass. I just want to apologize to everyone earlier who was on live. I really do appreciate you being there. I've just been having so many internet connectivity issues today and even over the past couple weeks. So I kind of had a feeling that it wasn't going to work out, but I really wanted to try anyways because I really love being on live with you guys. I love interacting with you guys. And so for those of you who did show up, thank you so much. But I am going to pre-record this webinar now because I don't want you to miss out on this information. I've worked really hard on putting this together for you. So I definitely am going to show it to you right now. So how it's going to work is as soon as I start the slideshow presentation, you're not going to see me anymore. But if you have any questions as we go through this, feel free to email them to support@kendraperry.net. If you have any questions at all, I would be more than happy to help you. If you signed up through this webinar through Facebook Messenger, you can always just ask me a question on that and I'll be happy to help you there. So I know at the live webinar, I did offer a giveaway and I still want to offer that today. So I am going to give away a secret word at the end. I'm not going to tell you where in the presentation though, but it will be somewhere towards the end. And just email that to support@kendraperry.net, and then I'm going to draw a prize for a free hair tissue mineral analysis kit, which is one of the most effective tests for helping you rebalance your hormones. It looks at minerals, it looks at toxicity, and these are incredibly important things when it comes to balancing hormones. You're also going to get a 1-hour interpretation and recommendations from me, so that is valued at $297. So just stay tuned throughout the presentation. I'm going to drop that secret word at some point in the presentation, and then I'm going to draw the winner at some point tomorrow. So you just email that to support@kendraperry.net. Okay, so let's get started with the presentation. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so in today's masterclass, I'm going to teach you how to win the battle against your hormones from hell without being a slave to nasty creams, birth control pills, or expensive drugs. And if you learn this today, then this masterclass is going to be a huge success for both me and you because I really want to teach this to you and I want you to take something away from it. So I know you may not believe this is fully possible yet, but trust me, it is, because I've actually been exactly where you are sitting today. I've been a hormonal, out of shape, exhausted mega bitch from hell, and I did manage to recover my hormonal health with diet, lifestyle, and detoxification. And now I actually work with hundreds of women to do the same. So today I'm going to teach you how you can tame those hellish hormones. And when you learn how to do this, you are finally going to see a shift in your ability to lose weight, your energy. You're no longer going to be a slave to bloating pain, heavy periods, and moodiness every single month. So I think that is pretty awesome. Okay, so before we get started, I know you're probably like me. Anytime I'm watching a webinar, I'm always super distracted by what's going on around me. So you probably have your cell phone on high volume, probably have a million tabs open, but if you could just do me a quick favor and shut down those tabs, close out your other internet windows, and turn off that cell phone or just at least turn down the volume, because I am going to give you a lot of good information today, and I just want to make sure you aren't going to miss out. So please just give me your undivided attention, only for an hour. That's all I ask. Okay, so you're probably wondering, who am I? Why the hell should you listen to me? What makes me different than other holistic nutritionists and other people out there who are teaching about hormone imbalance? So for those of you who are just getting to know me, my name is Kendra Perry. Hi. And I'm actually a former hormonal hot mess turned functional diagnostic nutritionist and female hormone expert. I also hold a bunch of other certifications in nutrition and health. I'm an expert in detoxification. But honestly, I think that's a bit boring. And I think the real reason that you should listen to me is because I've actually been exactly where you are right now. So when I was 23, I started to notice some pretty messed up things with my health. I got a nasty case of cystic acne overnight. I had these big hard bumps in my face that would stay on my face for months. I started feeling fatigued, brain fogged. I was getting insomnia most nights, and I got so anxious that I felt like I literally wanted to crawl out of my skin, and maybe you can relate to what I'm talking about. So I had no idea what was going on, and I didn't really get much help from my doctor. So I was given a several months course of antibiotics for my acne. I was given birth control pills. I was given these really acidic topical creams that really just dried out my skin and made it look terrible. I was even prescribed antidepressants at one point, but these things, they really didn't do anything to help me. And my acne got so bad that I developed really extreme social anxiety. I became a sort of like master at dodging bright lights. When I was kind of in a room of people, I would kind of just lurk in those darker areas because I felt like a bit more safe there, because then people weren't able to see what my skin actually looked like. So you can imagine that my self-esteem plummeted. I hated myself. I hated the way I looked. But I've always been sort of this natural girl. I've always been interested in health and nutrition, and taking all those pills, it just really didn't resonate with me. So I did decide to take matters into my own hands, and I decided I'm going to heal myself. Unfortunately, that didn't go too well. So I got lost in a sea of the wrong information. I made a ton of mistakes. And that's what I want to actually prevent from happening to you. I don't want you to waste the next 5 years of your life, or even 2, or even 1, just trying to figure out how to feel normal. So what did I try? I tried herbs. I tried expensive supplements. I did this light therapy for my skin, which didn't work. It cost me thousands of dollars. I tried diets. I tried seeing a naturopath, multiple different naturopaths and nutritionists, and I really didn't see any change in my symptoms. So fast forward 5 years later, I was in debt after spending almost $30,000 on my health, and I was actually no closer to finding a solution. So as you can imagine, I was pretty frustrated. So I was feeling extremely exhausted. I felt anxious every single day. My skin was a terrible mess, full of breakouts. I had terrible insomnia. And I had insomnia so bad that I had to take sleeping pills, and eventually I got addicted. I actually got addicted to them really quickly. They made me feel really toxic, but I also felt like they were the only way for me to sleep. If you're someone who's ever dealt with insomnia, you know how crazy it can make you feel. So the result is that I just felt completely desperate, and I had no idea what to do. And there's actually this one moment, and I do remember it really clearly, and I will never forget it. I was lying on my bed. It was Christmas Eve, and I was trying to muster up the energy to go have dinner with friends. But I was like super glued to the bed. I just felt, I think, the worst I've ever felt in my life. And I was only 28 years old. And my thoughts suddenly turned pretty dark. And for the first time in my life, I really contemplated what it would be like to just disappear. You know, like I hated my life. I hated myself. I had no hope for the future. I was only 28. So if this is how I felt at 28, how was I going to feel at 38, 48, 58 and beyond, right? It just didn't feel like I had this super bright future. But luckily, you know, I'm pretty determined. I'm stubborn, and I didn't give in to those dark thoughts. Instead, I kind of got this surge of optimism, and I made this promise to myself. I decided I was going to figure this out, and it was going to happen in the next 6 months. I put that timeline on it because that's kind of how I operate. And maybe all the stars were aligned, but the next day I was listening to a podcast, and Reed Davis was being interviewed. He's the owner of Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. So this is an institution that trains people to interpret functional lab tests and implement protocols that actually help people get well. So I was sold, and I registered for the course probably a couple weeks later, and my life changed forever. So during that training, I ran several lab tests on myself. I learned my body was a total mess. And interestingly, I learned that I had the hormone levels of an 80-year-old woman. And that's exactly how I felt, like an 80-year-old woman. So those hormone imbalances were coming from what I learned to be the top 3 causes of hormone imbalance: poor nutrition, poor lifestyle practices, and exposure to toxins. And these were impacting my hormones in a huge way and giving me all those nasty symptoms. So after I worked on those root causes, my skin cleared, thank God. I regained my energy. I started sleeping again. My anxiety disappeared, and I finally felt in control of my body and excited for my future. So it was pretty awesome. So fast forward to today, I've spent the past 5 years working with hundreds of women in my own private clinical practice, struggling from everything from estrogen dominance to PCOS to infertility to endometriosis, or just plain hormone imbalance that causes weight gain, fatigue, brain fog, and PMS. Shortly after I graduated from FDN, I was handpicked by Reed Davis, the owner of the company, to mentor other students who are going through the course. I've been involved in several pretty big projects within the organization. I manage and have built the Postgraduate Association. I was involved in building the Advanced Hormone Training Program for the company, and I'm the resident expert and clinical advisor on hair tissue mineral analysis, which I found to be one of the most critical tools for hormone imbalance. Remember, if you stick with me through this presentation and get my secret word, you can get entered to win one of those plus a 60-minute interpretation from me. So stick around. Okay. So I have made women's health my mission, and my goal is actually to help 1 million women balance their hormones naturally with healthy and holistic methods and without drugs or surgery. So I learned all of this the very long and painful hard way, but you get to cheat because I'm actually going to show you how I did this. Okay. So the hard way is trial and error, trying anything and everything you read on WebMD, Dr. Google, on blogs, and just never knowing if what you're doing is actually the right thing. The hard way is spending money on supplement after supplement that only really addresses the symptom and does nothing to address the actual problem. The hard way is restricting your diet to the point where you are afraid to eat anything because you're afraid it's going to lead to a flare up in your symptoms. And, I really get this because at one point I was so obsessed with food that I wasn't eating anything. And I think I probably had a full-blown eating disorder. And then finally, the hard way is feeling so overwhelmed by the massive amount of information out there that you choose to do nothing and you continue to suffer and feel like crap every single day because you just don't know where to start. So after 10 years of healing myself and working with hundreds of women, I've learned a few things. So I've learned that hormone imbalance is not normal and it's not something that you should waste years of your life dealing with. I've learned that most types of testing for hormones are ineffective and they cause many false negatives. I've learned that conventional methods to fix hormones do the opposite. They make hormones worse by masking imbalances and hiding symptoms. I've learned that while most women try to fix their hormones with diet, they usually are making one of 3 mistakes that make their symptoms and hormones worse. And I'm going to be going through those in just a bit. And finally, while many women try to do detoxes or cleanses, and they tend to make these really bold promises about fixing your hormones in X number of days, but they're actually really ineffective and they're a huge waste of money. And there's actually something else that you should be doing instead. And again, I'm going to go through that in just a bit. Okay, so I just want to make sure we're on the same page about something. So the information that I am teaching you today applies to all hormone imbalances, symptoms, and conditions, regardless of what they are. So most hormone imbalances have been grouped into several conditions like polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, hypothyroid, hyperthyroid, estrogen dominance, infertility, Hashimoto's, Graves' disease, fibroids, dysmenorrhea, amenorrhea, or any other specific condition that you can think about. But the truth is, hormone conditions are all caused by those same root causes: poor nutrition, poor lifestyle, and toxicity. So regardless if you have been diagnosed with one of these conditions or you are just struggling with PMS, fatigue, brain fog, and weight gain without a diagnosis, this webinar is still going to help you feel better and or improve your condition. So unfortunately, the medical community has separated different symptom presentations into entirely different medical diagnoses with entirely different treatments. But the truth is, hormone imbalance is one disease and it will respond to the same nutrition, lifestyle, and detox strategies. So today, I'm going to teach you my 5 secrets plus one bonus secret because I love giving bonuses. And when you learn to embrace these secrets, you can change your life, you can change how you feel, and finally get relief from those nasty symptoms. So just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a licensed medical doctor. That means that anything I teach you today is not a substitute for qualified medical advice. What I'm going to teach you today is not a quick get skinny quick scheme. It's not a quick weight loss scheme. I'm not going to teach you how to lose weight at the expense of your health. I'm not going to teach you strategies that give you instant results without assessing your current health and lifestyle habits. There is no quick fix. So if you want the results without putting in the work, I'm probably not your person. Healing your hormones doesn't need to be difficult, but it's not easy. So remember, results are never guaranteed. But if you stick with me today, I'm going to teach you how I've helped hundreds of women recover from hormone imbalance and gain more energy, lose weight, reverse their thyroid system symptoms, get pregnant, even if they've been trying for years, lift brain fog, and finally ditch those annoying PMS symptoms that happen every single month, right? Okay, so let's get into it. So I gave some of you ladies some homework. I gave you guys a quick quiz to help you identify if you do in fact have a hormone imbalance. So for those of you who did it beforehand, you get bonus points. But for those of you who missed that, this is the test. So I just want you to take a quick moment here and count 1 point for every one of these symptoms that you have experienced in the past 6 months. And when you finish, just, quickly kind of note your total in your brain. I'm going to give you just 30 seconds to go through that. I actually just need to drink some coconut water, get hydrated, replenish my electrolytes, and then we're going to get right back into it. Okay, so I don't want to waste too much time on this, but these symptoms are the most common symptoms associated with hormone imbalance. And 10 years ago, I probably would have checked 15 boxes. So if you have a hormone imbalance, you're likely going to have at least 1 point. But if you're here today, it's pretty likely that you're checking 3, 4, or 5, or even more of these boxes. So, if we were on live, I would get you to type your total into the chat box. You could connect with others, but unfortunately we're not. So just keep that in your head, and feel free to let me know later through Facebook Messenger if you want. Okay. So now you have a hormone imbalance. You're probably thinking, you're probably thinking, okay, cool. What's next, right? How do I fix this? So the first step to healing your hormones is embracing secret number 1. So secret number 1, So the first secret to healing is changing the most common perception that hormone imbalance is normal. The truth is 80% of women suffer from a hormone imbalance, and that number might be even higher. So when so many women are struggling with this condition, the common belief is that it's normal. And I've definitely seen this to be true. So here is a comment by a woman on one of my posts, and the post was explaining just that 80% of women have hormone imbalance. So this woman believes that because hormone imbalance is so common that it's normal and it doesn't need to be addressed. But if you look at that next comment, you actually might resonate with that woman, what that woman is saying. She's like, okay, well, if this is normal, then I don't even want to know what it's like to have issues, right? So hormone imbalance is so freaking common that it has become the butt of many of our jokes. So, don't mind her. She's just PMSing. And actually, I kind of like this one. It's kind of funny. So what do you get when you mix PMS with GPS? A moody bitch who will find you. I like that. Okay, so from now on, my period will be known as Shark Week, right? So these are pretty funny, but seriously, like if you Google search PMS humor, you're going to find hundreds of these quotes and memes referring to the crazy, out of control, emotional, angry, bloated mess that women become every single month. So PMS has become so common that we expect it. We are used to hearing our friends complain about it. We bond over it because of how common it is. But just because something is statistically common does not mean that it's normal, and it doesn't mean that we shouldn't address it. So let me just give you a few examples. So obviously, obesity, so common these days, but is this something we shouldn't address just because so many people are obese? What about stress, pain, fear, anxiety? Yes, they're common, but should we just say, well, most people have these things, it's normal, so let's just let everyone suffer? So, like I mentioned before, yes, these issues are statistically common, but statistically common does not equate to something being normal, something that doesn't need to be addressed. So I would think it should actually be quite the opposite. The fact that these issues are so common show that they actually do need to be addressed. So statistically common does not equal normal. So we've actually become confused with these two terms, and the result has led to disempowerment. And here's what I mean. So when we believe something is normal, we don't address it or try to change it. Why? Because it's normal, right? So women's health is on the decline. Infertility rates are at an all-time high. Estrogen dominant is rampant. Endometriosis is something I see more and more in my practice, and these rates are increasing. But if we choose to believe that hormone imbalance is normal, we disempower ourselves. Instead of deciding to change our situation, we choose to live in pain. We choose to accept that we get fatter with age, which I don't think is true. We choose to accept that your energy levels will continue to decline. We choose to accept that every month we morph into this insane, out of control, crazy lady who we barely even recognize. So I challenge you to rethink this. Yes, hormone imbalance and all the symptoms you are currently dealing with are statistically common, but they're not normal. And there is so much you can do to change that so you can start living your life minus those symptoms. So just imagine how it would feel when you finally kick those symptoms to the curb and you feel healthy, fit, confident, mentally stable all month long, and your energy is so high that the sky is the limit. So that's when you can finally sign up for that program you've always wanted to, but maybe you were like, I just don't have the energy for this right now. You can do that big hike, you can go on that trip, whatever it is that you desperately want to do, but you feel like you're being held back by those nasty, unwanted, unwelcome symptoms that make you feel like your body isn't yours. Okay, so if we were on live right now, I'd get you to get all fired up with me. I would get you to choose this, say this is not normal in the chat box, and we'd all get fired up and we'd wave our fists and feel super empowered, but we're not on live. So that's just me getting fired up. And hopefully when you're watching the replay of this, you can kind of feel that fire. You do have complete and total control to change this and feel better than you've ever felt in your life, even in your 30s or your 40s and beyond. We can feel better later in life than we did when we were younger. So that is totally possible. So, oh my God, I'm getting out of breath. I'm getting so fired up. So that brings me to secret number two. Secret number two is that the most common types of testing for hormones are actually really poor indicators of hormone levels. And in most cases, they miss hormone imbalance altogether. So if you go to your doctor and you ask to have your hormones checked, your doctor is most likely going to order a blood test. And you might have a hunch that something is up with your hormones. But the most common outcome of that hormone test is going to be that everything is normal, or it must all be in your head. But the good news is you're not crazy and it's not all in your head. So there's several problems with using standard blood tests for measuring hormones. So number one, hormones that are in the blood are actually in transit. So they're bound up in transport proteins and they're not usable to the tissues of your cells. So with blood hormone levels, we actually don't have any idea if they're headed to the cells to be used or if they're headed to the detox organs to be excreted. We don't have any idea. Number two, lab ranges for hormones are extremely wide. So it's a law that in range includes 90% of the population. So this means that as women get sicker and more hormonally unbalanced, these ranges shift to accommodate that more hormone sick population. So just because your hormones are in range, that actually does not tell you that your hormones are healthy. Number three, because lab ranges have actually become so wide that it means that by the time your hormones are out of balance in your blood, things have progressed really far and only then are you diagnosed with a hormone condition. So this might lead you to believe that, oh, this just happened overnight. I don't even know where it came from. But in fact, that imbalance has been slowly progressing over time, but only recently detected by the ineffective lab ranges, which of course means that imbalance will take longer to heal. So years before I learned my hormones were a total mess in the toilet, 80-year-old woman hormones over here, I was tested probably on 6 or 7 occasions and told that my hormones were fine and within range. So it wasn't until I completed more accurate testing that I was actually able to uncover these imbalances. So what is the best type of testing for hormones? So saliva or urine is best. Unfortunately, these aren't covered by insurance. They do require you to pay out of pocket in most cases, but they will actually tell you what's up with your hormones. So I do prefer urine testing over saliva because with urine, not only does it give you the hormone levels that are usable by the cell, but it actually tells you how those hormones are being sort of broken down and metabolized in the body. And those breakdown products affect how that hormone is being expressed in the body. And I think that's really important information to know. So the test I recommend and use with clients is the Dutch test by Precision Analytical. Really good test, and they actually just added a whole bunch of new cool markers to the test. So regardless though, regardless of the type of test you are running, the results are only as good as the practitioner reading them. So many practitioners have no idea how to properly interpret a saliva or urine test, and they're still using those conventional lab ranges, which easily miss that early stage hormone problems or conditions. So if you're going to fork out the cash for hormone testing, I would just make sure to find a practitioner like me who's trained in functional hormone interpretation. Okay, so let's move on to secret number 3. So the next secret about female hormone imbalance is that most typical hormone treatments prescribed by your doctor, like creams, drugs, birth control pills, and even surgery, do nothing to address the actual root cause of hormone imbalance, and more than often actually make the condition and the symptoms even worse. So why do we believe that these types of treatments are the only option? So this is why. So let's say you're not feeling so hot. Maybe you're tired because you haven't been sleeping that well. Maybe in the week before your period, you have that kind of premenstrual insomnia. So you go to your doctor with your symptom and you say, hey, can you help me with my insomnia issue? Does your doctor ask the question, oh, I wonder why you're having these problems to begin with? Does your doctor ask about your diet, your sleep, your exercise routine? Did they ask about your stress levels? Maybe if you have a really good doctor, but I'm going to say it's highly unlikely. What's more likely is that you are given a prescription for sleeping pills, maybe in an anti-anxiety med, or even an antidepressant. So let's say you go to your doctor because you have painful PMS. Is your doctor going to be like, hey, I wonder what's going on with your lifestyle? What's going on with your diet? Pretty unlikely. So you're more likely going to walk away with a prescription for birth control pills, maybe an IUD, a hormone cream, or even bioidentical hormones, maybe even some pain meds to go along with that. So why is this a problem? Well, it's a problem because your symptoms are actually not the issue. Yes, they suck. I agree with you. They totally suck and they interfere with your life, but they are not the underlying issue. They are your body yelling at you, trying to communicate with you that something is wrong. And what's even crazier is that your hormones are not the issue. And you're like, what? But it's true. Wacky hormones are also a symptom. Hormone imbalance is not a root cause. So if you take creams, medications, or the pill to address hormone imbalance, or even a natural supplement targeted at your hormones, you are again doing nothing to address the underlying cause of your hormone imbalance. So I just want to show you a quick, super nerdy diagram. Okay, so this is your brain. Obviously, we all know what that is. It's in our head. And our brain communicates with the body. And it does so with hormones, nutrients, immune cells, energy channels, and neurotransmitters. And the whole point of your brain communicating with your body is to give you function. So let me ask you this. If your body has good function and your brain is communicating with your body as it should, are you healthy? I hope you said yes, because that's the answer. Yes, you would be healthy and you would exist in a state of ease. But unfortunately, that's probably not what's going on for you. Or for a lot of the women who come and see me. So most of you have symptoms. Obviously, that's why you're joining me today. And I want to ask you one more question. So how can you have symptoms when your body is in a state of ease or in a state of normal function? It's a trick question. So the answer is it can't, and that is actually because a disease is present or a disease process. And where is that coming from? Well, it's coming from malfunction. So the body works so hard to keep you healthy. Really, that's all your body wants, is for you to be healthy. So by the time you are experiencing symptoms, the underlying dysfunctions have been going on for a very long time. And that's why you just don't feel the way that you used to, and why things that used to help you get better no longer work. So things just aren't working properly. So if you just focus on the symptom and ask your doctor for something to remove it, or even go buy a natural supplement to remove it, you're actually doing nothing to affect that underlying malfunction that is going on in the body. So the result is that symptoms will come back, or you'll just end up with more symptoms later down the road. And so the most important thing to take away from this diagram is that symptoms are the last thing to occur in the disease process. So your symptoms tell you that your malfunction has been going on for months, years, or even decades. So if you want to heal your hormones, you need to focus on that underlying malfunction, not the disease, not the diagnosed condition, or the symptoms that drive you crazy. And I know that's hard, but that's how it has to be. So let's dive a little deeper into these conventional treatments. So first off is hormone creams. So if we remember that hormone imbalance is a symptom and not the underlying issue, it's obvious that a hormone cream is not going to give you those long-term results. On top of that, hormone creams tend to get super saturated in fat cells just under your skin, and they actually get stuck. So that means that you may find these help initially, but as time goes on, they work less and less, and you need to keep increasing your dose. So once hormones are trapped in fat cells, they are very hard for your body to clear, and they just cause further hormone imbalance. Okay, so let's talk about birth control pills. So number one tool that a doctor will prescribe for hormone conditions and hormonal symptoms. This is the ultimate Band-Aid approach. And unfortunately, not only can it make your symptoms worse, but it can be really dangerous in the long run. So the birth control pill and other forms of hormonal contraceptives like the IUD, patch, needle, or ring, or anything that's sort of flooding your body with synthetic hormones. These hormones actually trick your body into thinking you're pregnant. When your body thinks it's pregnant, it does not ovulate. So the period you get every month when you are taking birth control is not a true period. It's breakthrough bleeding from your body's artificial pregnancy that thinks it has, and then you suddenly stop taking hormones, so it actually thinks it's just having a miscarriage every single month. And I actually think that leads to a lot of hidden emotional issues. So the fact that the pill suppresses your innate hormone production is the reason why women tend to have less symptoms when taking the pill or other forms of hormonal birth control. So basically the pill is just hijacking control of your hormones, it's taking over, and you may have less symptoms while you're on it, but of course, let me ask you this, can you be on the pill forever? So of course not. So at some point you're going to want to get pregnant, you're going to have to go off it, or you're going to go through menopause and have to get off it. And what you might find is all those nasty symptoms that you experienced years ago actually come rushing back with a vengeance. That's because your hormone imbalance, you've now been masking it for years or even decades for many of us. And it's now progressed way further along, and it actually might be interfering with your ability to function properly or, get pregnant, for example. On top of that, birth control pills make you deficient in nutrients. They deplete magnesium, your body's most important mineral, zinc, which you do need for healthy hormones, B vitamins, which are needed for energy, and vitamin C, which you need to detox and have a healthy immune system. So it does severely deplete you in these nutrients. And I mentioned before, birth control pills are very dangerous for your health. They can increase your risk of breast cancer, cervical cancer, heart attack, stroke, blood clots, gallbladder disease, candida. They can decrease bone density, and they can also cause migraines. Okay. Wait, I'm not done with birth control pills yet. I know this is a lot. So this I just want to mention. So the birth control pill also does decrease free testosterone, which of course you need for energy, sex drive, weight loss, and confidence. And this is a big one. According to Dr. Sarah Gottfried, it can decrease the size of your clitoris by 20%. Mind blowing, right? Mind blowing. Okay. So even bioidentical hormones, which are natural hormones, they can be helpful, but they're a temporary fix, right? They're not actually addressing the root cause. Not to mention, in some countries, they're actually really expensive. I know when I was doing this type of therapy, it was costing me about $200 a month, so not cheap. Let's quickly look at some of the drugs prescribed for hormone imbalance. Metformin, commonly prescribed for PCOS, but it has a lot of side effects, including irregular heartbeat, dizziness, and stomach pains. Synthroid, most commonly prescribed for Hashimoto's or hypothyroid. And yes, it is absolutely necessary in some cases, but it's usually prescribed prematurely and usually always without addressing those three root causes. Causes hair loss, chest pain. It's actually recently linked with lung cancer as well. Antidepressants, very commonly given to women with hormone imbalance. And of course, they mess with your brain function. They can cause weight gain, insomnia, reduced orgasm. That sucks. Blurred vision. And they actually can be a very dangerous drug to wean off on. So once you're on them, very hard to get off of them. And finally, for some very unlucky women, they are offered the most extreme conventional treatment as their only option. For example, the hysterectomy, which does involve the removal of uterus and or ovaries. So there are actually 600,000 hysterectomies done in the US alone every single year, but only 10% are done for cancer, which means the rest are completely unnecessary. So I think that is a really crappy statistic. So luckily, if you're on here and you've already had a hysterectomy, necessary or not, your adrenal glands still produce all the hormones you need to function properly. So everything on this webinar still applies to you because you can actually see a full recovery and have healthy hormone balance by implementing my system, which will improve your adrenal gland function, which will help you produce hormones even if you don't have ovaries or a uterus. So just a quick side note. So I don't think drugs or surgery are always unnecessary. There are certain things I am more than happy we have drugs and surgery for, but just remember this. So your doctor is only trained in drugs and surgery. So they can't offer you any other options. So you shouldn't go to your doctor expecting anything else, right? Because that is all they know. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to secret number 4. So healthy hormones, like all forms of health, right? They always start with a healthy diet. Unfortunately, most of the diets that women have been told to follow to get healthy and balance their hormones are actually pretty ineffective. And most often they actually make hormone imbalance worse. So I like to call these the 3 lows. The 3 lows. Okay. So the first low is low calorie. So if weight loss is one of your primary conditions, then there's no doubt you've been told by your doctor or your Cosmo magazine or some other so-called health guru that you need to count calories and always make sure that you are eating less and exercising more. So this is one of the most damaging diets for your hormones. So not only will it inhibit your thyroid function, deplete your estrogen and or progesterone, but is the primary woman that women gain more weight in the long term after dieting. So current research actually shows that if you consciously attempt to eat less calories than your body requires for energy expenditures, at some point your body is going to fight back against this. And why is this? Well, it's because eating too few calories, you actually put yourself into starvation mode, which wreaks havoc on your hormones. And at some point, your body just kind of hijacks your willpower, turns off impulse control, and makes you crave food like no other. And no amount of discipline is going to stop you from giving in and absolutely binging off that food. So starvation mode will deplete thyroid hormone because your thyroid regulates metabolism. And if there isn't enough food, the metabolism slows down. A slower metabolism means less energy, weight gain, constipation, and even a disturbed sleep. That is no fun. It can suppress estrogen and progesterone production, which can affect your fertility. It can cause your period to be irregular or even absent. Also, when you're in starvation mode, it increases ghrelin. So this is the hormone that makes you want to eat more food, causing more weight gain and even obesity in some women. So if you're following this type of diet, stop right now. It is not going to help you lose weight, and it's definitely not going to help you with your hormones. Okay, so that brings us to the next low, which is low carbs. This one might surprise you a bit. So I know low carb has been touted as the magic cure-all diet for hormone health and weight loss. Again, not true. So restricting carbs in women is actually a recipe for disaster. Carbs are your body's main fuel source. Your body prefers to burn glucose, which comes from carbs. You need this to produce energy. So when you're eating a low carb diet, your blood sugar levels will drop, which always causes the adrenals to pump out cortisol. When cortisol goes up, so does your blood sugar, so does your insulin, and elevated insulin levels over time cause insulin resistance, which is actually a recipe for weight gain. So elevated cortisol interferes with the function of your thyroid, not good, can suppress your sex hormones, and over time can decrease energy and suppress your immune system. So women need carbohydrates, and when you don't have them in your diet, your body will actually convert sugar from protein. The process is called gluconeogenesis, but that's super nerdy, so let's not go into that. So even if you restrict carbohydrates, your body will still find a way to get sugar for fuel. But unfortunately, converting protein into sugar is super energy intensive, and it can actually lead to a lot of stress and energy loss in the body. So low carb does not improve hormone conditions or lead to weight loss. The research has shown that. So it's okay. You can eat carbs. You just need to eat those healthy carbs. Obviously, we want to stay away from those really high sugar refined carbohydrates, but whole grains, root vegetables, fruit, all those things can be really, really good sources of carbs, and your body is craving them. Excuse me, just choking on my saliva. Okay, I'm okay. Okay, so let's move on to the next low, which is low fat. So I hope a lot of you have seen the inaccuracies in this low fat fear that has sort of taken over North America for the past 30 years. But I do know a lot of this dogma still lingers in the media and in magazines. So honestly, eating a low fat diet is like taking the express train to hormonal hell. One of the main building blocks for your hormones is dietary fat. So if you don't have healthy fats in your diet, then you will not have the tools necessary to build hormones. The result, depleted hormones and more hormone imbalance. So the women I work with have been following strict low-fat diets, who've been following those strict low-fat diets. They usually have the worst hormones I've ever seen. So what are healthy fats? Butter, yes, butter is a superfood, believe it or not. Coconut oil, avocado oil, ghee, and olive oil. So those are your top 5, and stay away from things like soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, canola oil. Those actually don't make hearty hormones. So you definitely want to stick with these more saturated fats. So, it's pretty sad because I think most women usually go on a low-fat diet to lose fat, but they actually end up gaining fat because their hormones go totally out of whack when they eat this way. So if you're eating low fat, stop it. Okay, so you're probably wondering, well, what is the best diet for hormones? So the best diet for hormones is one that emphasizes eating real whole foods, is focused on plant-based foods, but should still contain some animal protein, but not too much. I usually recommend about 0.5 grams per every pound of body weight in protein. Very important. I also recommend eating 6 to 8 cups of vegetables a day, and I recommend these as cooked, and you're probably wondering why, and that's because your gut can more easily extract minerals from cooked vegetables than raw vegetables. So definitely make sure you're eating enough cooked vegetables in a day. Okay, so a hormone balancing diet is balanced in fat, protein, and carbs, and does not restrict one macronutrient. So I don't like any of those restrictive diets that restrict fat or protein or carbs. You need a good balance of all those things. And finally, a hormone healthy diet should only restrict what is necessary and be as inclusive as possible based on your unique needs. So a lot of women, they restrict to the point where they're on such a restrictive diet that they're barely eating anything and they're super stressed out about it. But I only believe you should do this if it's absolutely necessary. So I think I use elimination diets to really customize what an individual person can tolerate and get on that most inclusive diet as possible. Okay, so let's talk about secret number 5. So secret number 5 is about detox, one of my favorite topics. So, one of the primary ways that I see women trying to balance their hormones, improve energy, or lose weight is by doing a detox or cleanse. And these products usually promise you big results in 10, 14, or even 21 days. But unfortunately, almost every detox or cleanse kit that you buy at the natural food store is virtually useless and a huge waste of your time and money. So you might be saying, well, I did such and such a cleanse and I felt really great while I was on it. Well, the reason for this actually doesn't have anything to do with those supplements or herbs that you dropped money on. Usually it's because you cleaned up your diet, right? You cut out sugar or gluten or dairy or alcohol, or you focused on getting more sleep. So why are these supplements useless? Okay, so they're useless because they actually don't address the true source of toxicity. So what is the true source of toxicity? So yes, diet can be a part of this, but toxicity usually comes from being exposed to environmental chemicals and heavy metals. So they come in through the air we breathe, through city or municipal water, and most importantly, through our environment. And we're always continually being exposed to these things. So think of it this way. Let's say you have a leaky faucet that is draining heavy sediment into a sink. So eventually all that sediment builds up in the drain and it blocks it. So now you have this sink, it's leaky, so it's filling up with water and it's about to overflow because that drain is blocked. So in order to fix the issue, you're like, I'm gonna pour Drano down this thing. And of course that does break up and loosen the sediment and the sink does begin to drain again. So you walk away and you're like, awesome, I'm awesome. I'm not gonna have to deal with that sink again, right? But then you come back a few days later only to find that that sink has overflowed again. Why is this? Well, it's because you took the steps to improve the draining of the sink, but you failed to address the reason why the sink was getting clogged to begin with. And this was, of course, the sediment, right? So until you filter the sediment out of the water, the drain continues to get clogged over and over and over again. So you can think of the sink like your liver and the heavy sediment as the chemicals and toxins that are kind of constantly flowing into your body. So yes, you can speed up at the rate at which water drains, but if you don't address the incoming source of sediment, then that drain, of course, gets clogged up over again. So doing a 14-day cleanse is the same thing as pouring Drano down the sink. It doesn't address the true source, so it's not really the smart fix. So yes, many sources of toxins cannot be fully avoided. That is true. We're always going to get exposed to them to some degree. Even if you eat an organic diet or you live in a pristine location, we know that polar bears in the Arctic are full of chemicals, pesticides, flame retardants, heavy metals, etc. So no one is immune, but many sources of toxins we actually deliberately put on our bodies every single day. And we do this in the form of personal care products, beauty products, and even household cleaning products. So 60% of what you put on your skin does end up in your bloodstream. And once chemicals are in the bloodstream, they can actually come into contact with every single cell in your body. And this is crazy. I read a recent study that said the average woman puts 515 different chemicals onto her body every single day. That's crazy. That is super crazy. Okay. So you're probably wondering, okay, this detox stuff, it's interesting, but what does it have to do with hormones? So many synthetic chemicals found in our daily products contain endocrine disruptors, which interfere directly with the hormone system. So these contain xenoestrogens, which mimic human estrogen and make you estrogen dominant. And this can lead to endometriosis, weight gain, fatigue, menstrual problems, infertility. It can even lead to cancer. So these chemicals, they also clog up your liver, which interferes with hormones leaving the body. So if hormones cannot be cleared, then they're left to recirculate the body, and this leads to estrogen dominance, PMS, and especially something like PCOS. So when you think of it this way, how effective do you think the last 10, 14-day, or even 21-day detox or cleanse you did was? Yes, you may have sped up your detox organs for a few days or weeks, but regardless of these herbs, your detox pathways cannot keep up with the amount of chemicals and toxins that are constantly entering your body on the regular, especially when you are deliberately rubbing them on your skin or several times a day, right? So not a lot of people talk about this, but detoxification and having healthy detoxification is one of the most important concepts for hormonal health, but it needs to start with the source and reducing exposure to chemicals and metals in your environment. So only then can you start to consider ways to boost detox. The truth is, detox needs to be a lifestyle. It's not something you just do for X amount of days and then you're like, I'm good. That is not how it is. So the most critical step you can take to balance your hormones is to detox chemical products out of your home and your environment. Okay. I get fired up about that one. I really love detox, and I hope you learned something there. Okay, so those are my 5 secrets, but I do have one more bonus secret because I love giving bonuses, and this one is a good one, and it might actually change everything you thought you knew about hormone imbalance. So drum roll, bonus secret. So in seeing thousands of tests, I have yet to see a hormone imbalance that does not also include a gut dysfunction. So since all hormones are broken down and metabolized in the digestive system, if you have hormone symptoms or a hormone condition or disease, you also have gut dysfunction. So this means that in order to heal your hormones, you need to heal your gut, because inflammation will drive up hormone production or drive it down. There might be leaky gut, there might be infections. And when you have these things present, your body cannot clear hormones properly from the body. And you end up with PCOS, testosterone dominance, estrogen dominance, endometriosis, fibroids, or even infertility. So pretty interesting, but even if you don't have those typical GI symptoms, even if you don't have bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, if you have hormone imbalance, there's still something lurking in your gut. I can tell you that. Okay, so you have a hormone imbalance or condition. So what does that tell me about you? Well, it tells me that you have poor nutrition. Even if you're eating a whole foods diet, you're probably not getting the nutrients or minerals that you need. It tells me that you need to optimize your lifestyle practices. It tells me that your body is toxic and it needs to be detoxed the right way. And it also tells me that your gut is a mess and it needs to be healed. Okay, so let's quickly recap. I know this was a ton of information, and unfortunately I can't cover everything in this masterclass, or I literally would be here all night long. But I do actually have a extra super special offer for you. I want to give you my step-by-step roadmap, the exact roadmap I use with my clients who are paying me $2,000 plus to reverse their hormone conditions or symptoms without ruining your body with drugs, birth control pills, or creams, or surgery. Okay. So female hormone imbalance is not normal. You can heal this, and you can actually start doing this today. Number 2, conventional treatments like drugs, pills, surgeries, creams, they're a Band-Aid approach. They don't actually fix the root cause, and they mask hormone imbalance over time. And of course, they will let it progress until it comes back with a vengeance. Number 3, standard blood tests are a poor indicator of hormone imbalance. They usually miss hormone imbalance altogether, especially in its early stages. So by the time they are detected on a blood test, you have a full-blown hormone condition, and it is way more difficult to treat than if you found it earlier on. Number 4, most dietary strategies that women are told can fix hormone imbalance, they make them worse. Remember the 3 lows you need to avoid: low calorie, low carb, and low fat. Number 5, of course, be wary of hormone cleanses and detox, which promise instant results in X amount of days. They don't address the root cause of toxicity. So you can actually do yourself a lot more good by eliminating chemical products from your home. Don't forget the bonus secret, right? We love bonuses. So if you have hormone imbalance, you have a gut imbalance, you do need to heal your gut. So this does bring me to my, what I think is a very exciting offer. I want to introduce you ladies to Hormone Power. This is my core program that I created last fall when I decided that I wanted to give as many women as possible the opportunity to get the same results that my coaching clients get without the high cost of working with me. So if you act fast, I do have an amazing bonus for you. This is something that I haven't done before, and it's going to give you the tools to finally lose weight, regain your energy, eliminate brain fog, ditch PMS, and say goodbye to scary hormone conditions. So I created Hormone Power to give you the tricks and tips that I teach my high-paying clients, but at a minuscule fraction of the price. So the course is exactly what I wish someone had given me when I was anxious, exhausted, full of acne, completely alone. But they didn't, and I lost almost 10 years of my life trying to figure it out, and I will never get those years back. So remember, I did this the hard way, but with Hormone Power, that doesn't have to be your fate. So what does Hormone Power include? So the first is 6 weeks of video modules. I think that's valued at $3,000. Super detailed, gives you all the tools you need. We talk about nutrition, lifestyle, detox. Plus, I'm going to teach you how to heal your gut. I'm going to teach you how to improve your energy. I'm going to tell you what to eat and when to eat it, how to improve your sleep, how to shift your mindset, how to exercise that increases fat loss. and doesn't involve exercising yourself into the ground. We're going to talk about optimizing digestion, immune system, and reducing inflammation. I do give you a 21-day meal plan, 3 weeks of shopping list, 40 mouth-watering recipes. So no thinking required. I think you can save a lot of time and money knowing exactly what you need to buy instead of kind of aimlessly wandering around the grocery store. There are handouts and worksheets that go with each module to help you stay on track and follow along. I also have transcripts for each video. So for those of you who learn better by reading, or maybe you like to travel. And then this also includes a private Facebook support group from me. You can connect with other women in the course. You can also ask me anything about the lessons in the course, about your hormones. If you have any recent lab work, you can post it on the Facebook group and I will help you understand it. So I think that is pretty invaluable. So this is my fast acting bonus. If you do sign up in the next 72 hours, I'm actually going to give you 50% off the regular investment for the course. 50% off. I'm giving it to you for half price. Plus, I'm throwing in 20 extra hormone boosting recipes, my superfood smoothie guide, because who doesn't like smoothies? And of course, my 15-minute meal cheat sheet, because even if you're busy, you can still implement this program with ease. And basically, I think Hormone Power is a $4,900 value. It's super valuable. The women who've gone through it have gotten crazy good results, but I am offering it to you for $247 until Friday night at 8 p.m. So for the next 3 days. So that's 50% off, regular $497. You can get it for $297. If you want to get started, you can just go to this link here, go.kendraperry.net/hormones. And you can get it for just $297 or $247, which is honestly a steal of a deal for what you're getting. So I just want to share a few testimonials with you. So here's a couple ladies who went through the program in the fall. So here's Melanie. So she, has tried so many things. So I know she was feeling super, super skeptical, but she went for it and it's helped her a lot. She feels more energetic, less bloated. Her anxiety has gone down significantly, which I know for Mel, just like me, was a really big issue for her. And she's of course feeling excited. Kyla is really excited too. Energy levels up, brain fog down, less bloated. So lots of less bloating going on here. And she feels like a sane human being instead of a maniac. So really good results for Kyla and Mel. And then this is one of my favorite clients. This is Nikita. She was, kind of terrified to start messing with hormones because she was going off birth control after, being on it for 10 to 12 years. She was worried about the breakouts that she got in high school. She learned so much, and she, learned a lot of things that she was doing on the regular that were interfering with her hormones. And she would highly recommend it to anyone, even those who aren't her friends. She thinks all women could benefit from the course. And I agree. So let me ask you this, what would it be worth to you to finally see an improvement in your energy levels, to wake up feeling energized and excited for your day, to lose that spare tire around your waist that doesn't involve starving yourself or exercising yourself into the ground, to clear brain fog so you feel smart and sharp again like you used to have a period that doesn't totally rock your world for a week every single month and prevent you from exercising, working, or just enjoying life. What would it be worth for you to get pregnant easily? Of course, only if you want to, even if you've been trying without success for years. And then finally, what would it be worth to you to get this hormone thing figured out rather than suffer like I did for the next 10 years? So to me, any of those things would be invaluable. But for you, it's only $247 for the next 72 hours. So just to quickly recap, and I'm actually going to give you the secret word in just a second here. So you get 6 weeks of video modules, 21-day meal plan, 3 weeks of shopping lists, 40 mouth-watering whole food recipes, handouts and worksheets with each week's modules, transcripts, the private Facebook group, and then I'm adding in my 40 recipes, superfood smoothie guide, and 15-minute meal guide. Okay, so to sign up, if you want to join me, I would love to have you. go.kendraperry.net/hormones. But basically I think you have two choices here. So you can choose to do nothing. You cannot take this awesome opportunity that is 100% risk-free and continue to feel like crap and to suffer and to feel crazy every single day. Or you can make this small investment and finally break free from hormonal hell, change your life forever. So what is your health worth to you? So you can dive in with me and take Hormone Power. And if it works, I'm so stoked. But if not, you can actually ask for your money back. So I do offer a 30-day money back refund guarantee. So if after 30 days you don't like what you're learning or you're not getting results, you can still get a full refund. All that we ask is that you show us that you did the work. So show us the proof that you have participated in the course. And if you still want a refund, you got it. But I really believe in this program. And I really think if that you put in the work and you give it a chance, that you're going to love your results and you're actually not going to want a refund anyways. Okay, so the secret word is balance. Email that to support@kendraperry.net. I'll give you guys till tomorrow evening, and then we're going to draw the winner for the hair tissue mineral analysis. If you have any questions about hormone power, you can send me an email to support@kendraperry.net, or you can, if you signed up for the webinar through Facebook Messenger, just shoot me a message. But it is a 6-week course. It's self-paced. You can start when you want. You get all the things we mentioned there, plus you get the $250 off bonus, and that ends Friday night at 8 p.m. Pacific. This is an amazing program. The women who've gone through it love it. They get great results, and it's a really good price point. Like most women who work with me are spending $2,000 plus. Normally I charge $497 for this program, but $247. I mean, I just love you ladies and I want you to feel better. So I hope you will join me. I really hope to see you in there. Just head to go.kendraperry.net/hormones. Okay. So thank you so much for being with me today. I hope you enjoyed this information. If you have questions, just let me know. And again, sorry for the technical difficulties on the live. If I was here with you right now, I'd be answering all your questions and interacting with you because I love to do that. But sometimes technology, it just works against you. So I hope you guys have a lovely night, and thanks so much for doing this with me. Bye everyone.